The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to the Jews, "If I testify on my own behalf, my testimony is not true. But there is another who testifies on my behalf, and I know that the testimony he gives on my behalf is true. You sent emissaries to John, and he testified to the truth. I do not accept human testimony, but I say this so that you may be saved. He was a burning and shining lamp, and for a while you were content to rejoice in his light. But I have testimony greater than John's. The works that the Father gave me to accomplish, these works that I perform, testify on my behalf that the Father has sent me. Moreover, the Father who sent me has testified on my behalf. But you have never heard his voice, nor seen his form, and you do not have his word remaining in you, because you do not believe in the one whom he sent. You search the Scriptures because you think you have eternal life through them. Even they testify on my behalf. But you do not want to come to me to have life. I do not accept human praise. Moreover, I know that you do not have the love of God in you. I came in the name of my Father, but you do not accept me. Yet if another comes in his own name, you will accept him. How can you believe when you accept praise from one another and do not seek the praise that comes from the only God? Do not think that I will accuse you before my Father. The one who will accuse you is Moses, in whom you have placed your hope. For if you had believed Moses, you would have believed me, because he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how will you believe my words?" The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So the cause of idolatry, which is the worship of false god, is because the priests of God failed to guard truth. So here, the Israelites, they were just by the mountain, and Moses had gone up to visit with the Lord to receive the 10 Commandments. And was there 40 days and 40 nights in communication with God. And that's beautiful communication. So he was there. He's a leader, prophet, and priest, and king. He had all together because he was the prefigure of Jesus. Was prefiguring Jesus, was a type of Jesus Christ going to come. But everything in the New Old Testament, is a preparation for the new. So Moses was there, and the people grew impatient because he was legitimately absent from the people. And here was Aaron, who was like a deputy. He was senior to Moses, of course, in age, but he was expected to guard the place of God, the prerogative of God with the people. But they say, hey, this guy Moses had disappeared and now we cannot find him. What's he doing? So who is the God that brought us out of the land of Egypt? Then they felt vacuum. They felt a vacuum. Nobody's there to announce the goodness of God to them. Nobody's there to fill the vacuum of their souls. Nobody's there to guard them like the sacred magisterium that guards the people. The truth that guards, that sets people free. Nobody was there to do that for them. And then they said, you know what? Let's get trinkets and everything, and make the golden calf. So they built for themselves a god. So human beings can actually build for themselves a god that they create. So God created us in his own image and likeness, but we can actually create God, our own God, many gods in our own image and likeness. That's idolatry. And it happened. It does happen. We create that type of God when we fail, when the vacuum of our lives, we don't have any direction to follow. You see, what truth is missing, what happens? A lie becomes a God. Arrogance becomes a god. Selfishness becomes a god. Materialism becomes a god. Alcoholism becomes a god. Sex becomes a god. Huh? When there is no God, when there's no truth, there's no direction. Nobody to give direction. Daniel says, now there is no prophet, no priest, no king, no to give us oblation, to offer sacrifice. None. So if there is none, then you are a God. I am a God, isn't it? Then we can make a golden calf for ourselves. So the priest Aaron was a weakling. Sorry. Yeah, that was what he was. And so he exposed the people to the danger. He couldn't say no. And so when Moses came down, God had told him to go down now. Your people have apostatized. They have failed. They have left me, the God who brought them out of the land of Egypt. They have broken the covenant. And Moses interceded for the people. He interceded and prayed and prayed. Please, Lord. And he used the covenant that God swore between Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as his basis for intervening, because God does not fail to keep his covenant. He says, you will be my people, I will be your God. And so God keeps the end of his covenant, and sometimes we don't. But the priest is the one to ensure that the covenant of God is proclaimed. And that's why Jesus says in the gospel, my testimony is not as important as God's, the Father's testimony on my behalf. And that Moses talked about me. Moses was the type of Jesus. If Moses interceded for the people at that time, Jesus is saying, at the resurrection and the life, Moses will accuse. Why? Because his writings are obvious for people to follow. And yet people refuse to follow him. Moses came at the transfiguration and Elijah to show that God is not the God of the dead, but God of the living. And for those who follow his way, who follow his commandments and his statutes, they shall live forever. The statutes, the commandments and the instructions of God is the truth that sets us free. That truth is Jesus Christ in all his embodiments. That truth is what defends us and protects us against the liar who comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That's the reason we ought in every respect to pray for priests. that we can stand steadfast and persevere in the holy vocation that God has given to us. And that vocation is to guard the truth, to espouse the truth, to recall the truth, to renew our lives in the truth, that our vocation is to guard the place of God in the midst of the people, not to flunk his way, to guard it and defend it, and lead creation, the whole of humanity, to give ultimate worship to God.